Hey guys, welcome back to Somerville Ecclesiastes. We are almost done. We're within like 2 lessons of finally getting into the text of Ecclesiastes itself. And so what happens here in Solomon's teaching through? Like I said last time, he's going to spend a whole lot of time digging into this word vanity. It's the word for vapor. It's the Hebrew word Hebel. And what this idea is it is the frustration, this, I don't understand it, and that's it. And like I said last time, Augustine is known for this quote, "Thou hast made us for thyself, O Lord, and our heart is restless until it finds rest in thee." And so what Solomon's doing is he's really expounding on that type of concept. And now what he's going to do is he's going to move away from what is profitable for a man to do. And he's just going to move and say, okay, yeah, profit or not, whatever. What is a man supposed to do? What's the right thing for a man to do? Now, we've covered that word Hebel. Now let's cover the next word, which is vexation of spirit. Now again, with Augustine saying there is just no finding rest outside of God, that's the meaning really of this word vexation of spirit. Solomon is saying everything is vanity, everything is vapor. It's I'm going after things that just vanish the moment I get my hands on them. But it's also a vexation of spirit. And literally the word vexation of spirit means I'm chasing after the wind. It's like trying to catch the wind with a net. It's like trying to herd cats. It's just a frustrating task that it keeps you busy, but you don't end up actually accomplishing anything. That's this idea of this word vexation of spirit. And it really is paired with Hebel a whole lot. And so you've got vanity and vexation of spirit, these two things. So not only is this thing fleeting the moment I get a hold of it, it's just impossible. It's just frustrating. And so that's this idea of Hebel, vexation of spirit. Now, the picture is of trying to bring the wind into subjection, trying to make the wind blow a certain way. You can't. There's just no controlling that. And it is a picture of God's sovereignty. God specifically will say, the Spirit blows where it lists. The Spirit will blow where it wants to go. It's like the wind. Okay, you can see it moving, but you can't tell it where to go. That's this idea of life, because you're trying to get things in your rule set. You're trying to control them, and it just doesn't work that way. Again, attempting the impossible is a good way to look at it. And so there is an inability on our part to understand this vapor. And that's frustrating. And Solomon really, really was trying to dig in. And he's going to get to the point where he says, there are things God has made crooked that I cannot straighten out. There are things that God had made straight I cannot make crooked. I just, that's outside of my control. I've done everything in my power. I've thought through every possible conclusion, and I just can't do it. And that's this idea of vexation of spirit. Now, one of the final major ones that you need to know to understand this book is this idea of under the sun. Now, the word under the sun can literally mean like I go outside and I'm standing under the sun and the sun's shining on me. That's literally what it could mean. However, it is also a turn of phrase. It is a play on words, basically to say there is nothing above the sun. So this world is under the sun, and let's pretend there is no God telling us what to do. And that's realistically what he's trying to get at with most of his uses of this word under the sun. And so as you dig into this, again, he is trying to think horizontally. Let's ignore God for the moment, and let's just dig in and say, what is the point of life under the sun? And I looked at life under the sun, and I did this under the sun, and it was vanity, and it was vexation of spirit. And what he's trying to get at is this idea of let's just look on the horizontal. Let's ignore the fact that there's a God for the moment. It's a mental picture. It's just a game we're playing. Let's ignore the eternal. Let's look at just the physical. And yes, in just the physical, none of this makes sense. Again, it's used about 29 times throughout the book. The vast majority of it is going to be this concept of let's pretend God doesn't exist. Now, we're going to get into that in the next section here with the theology. I want to end on that. I know this is a shorter lesson, but if you can grasp the words Hebel, which is vanity, the vexation of spirit, and under the sun, you're really going to start being able to unpack pretty much everything what Solomon has to say. Those are going to be the key things. Obviously, other words you throw in and other things that you're going to find as you go through the book. But if you can grasp those 3 concepts, you're good. you're pretty golden. There's going to be a few phrases here and there. There's going to be a few verses. We'll cover some of those as we go through it expositorily. But again, just understand, you will be able to grasp this book. Pray about it, work your way through, and again, those three phrases are going to be the key ones.